Hello, welcome to another fast and fun video. It's Rich here, and in this week's video it's a short video, and I'm doing this on the last night with my C350e plug-in hybrid. It gets returned after 3 years of ownership, and what I wanted to do is just have a look back and do a brief summary of the highs and lows of running this car as my everyday go-to family car. I think it sits in the luxury executive end of the market. I really wanted this video to answer the question, would I recommend this car as a family car for you as the viewers? I think I'd start by saying it served us really well as a family. It has been our go-to car over the last 3 years. We've covered a lot of miles, over 70,000 miles in the car. Some of the benefits, I think it sits in that executive, mid-range executive car range, and I think it feels that both inside, the way it drives. It's exceedingly comfortable for longer journeys, and everything feels well made, well screwed together, and it's a really nice place to be. I think performance-wise, it gives you an insight into what it's like in this new generation of electric vehicles, with the battery power providing that really instantaneous acceleration to get you away. And if you couple that with the 2-litre turbo petrol engine, you do have an incredibly fast accelerating car, especially if you configure it in and put it into Sport Plus. So that is I think the performance of this in a car that doesn't look particularly fast is actually a really real benefit to this car. But it's not a full-blown EV, and I think for many people that step into the unknown. Is it too early to transition into an EV? Well, it very much depends on your particular lifestyle and your particular circumstances, and for us at the time it's given us an insight into running an EV. Are we ready to make that juncture yet? No, we're not, but this is certainly a step towards there with regard to a fare, because for the shorter journeys you're running around in the majority of your time in an electric vehicle, but you've got the assurance that do you need to go that a little bit further, you've got the petrol powered engine to get there, so you don't get the anxiety. So some of the not so good things I suppose with the car really is because it's a digital car now, and in the truth it's where cars have been going for the last 5 or 10 years, you as a driver just feel a little bit further away from the car itself. The car's doing more of that work for you, and for that Monday morning commute into work, absolutely there's nothing wrong with that, and it's probably the right way to go. But I think for true petrolheads that want to feel part of the car, want to be part of making that car be better and go faster and go quicker and more efficiently and all that, you just feel a little bit more removed, very artificial in places, and especially when you start pushing on in this car. I think the battery range, PHEVs have always got a low battery range, but they've moved on so much in the last few years, and this official figure of 19 that's probably more like 10 or 12 at best, it's pretty poor nowadays, and that's only going to feel more and more removed as the years go on, and then it gets into the third, I suppose, big negative is around the battery performance and perhaps the realisation that the battery pack will need to be replaced at some point in time, and whether that's at 5 years or later, and that battery replacement comes at a huge cost, and unofficial figures have put that somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 to get the battery pack replaced. Now that is a huge cost for anybody, but certainly for second, third, fourth hand cars, when these start getting down into much lower prices for this range, then that's going to be such a significant percentage of the car's value. What's that going to do? And potentially that could drive cars like this to almost become beyond economic repair. Well, if that's the case, we're going to turn over cars quicker, which is almost going against the whole ethos of having electric vehicles being better for the environment. So that's a whole tricky debacle and debate, I think, to be had, especially with regard to PHEVs, but it will be pertinent to EVs as well. So what's my recommendation of the car? Well, if I look at what I've done, I suppose that's the best recommendation. I'm not buying another PHEV. I'm not buying another EV. In fact, I'm moving back a generation, because for me, the stumbling block that I've always had with this car is I just lack that driver involvement that I really, really wanted. So I've got my other car, replacement car there, that purposely you can't see, but I'm going to show you a few little shots of the car, and you can have a guess at what you think the car is, by all means. That'll be show and tell on that car in the next couple of weeks' time. But I've gone back, as I say, a whole generation, so a few years back to, I think, when the cars were a little bit more purer. It's still a four-seater, it still serves everyday practicality, almost. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think I stand behind the fact that they're incredibly quick cars. I stand behind the fact that they offer a great degree of luxury and comfort, and have great practicality as well. But the big issue I have got with recommending one of these cars is around the battery pack replacement. And it's such a significant cost of doing that, potentially every 5 years, that I fear for cars like this. And as these cars depreciate in value further, that overall cost of replacement becomes an even bigger percentage of the total value of the car, to such a point that I see in probably 7, 8, 10 years time, these are going to be just uneconomical to replace the battery packs. So what happens then? Do we just start throwing cars away every 10 years? And that cannot be the right thing to do for the environment. That can't be the right thing to do as in totality. So that is a real predicament, I think, for these cars. And that's the same for EVs as well. So, and that's something I'm just not sure I'm bought into that. And for me, looking back at some of the great cars we've had from the 90s and noughties, I think I'd rather sit in a car from the noughties that's lost all its money, offers great driving involvement, great luxury as well, at a really low price. Yes, you may have a few reliability issues. Yes, there may be a few more extra running costs, but you've got probably zero depreciation, and keep these cars running longer on the road. These have already been built. Why do I need to go and buy another car and lease another car for another 3 years? And on other PCP, whatever the sort of loan or lease agreements that are in place, and it seems to be the wrong thing to do. And so I think there's a whole discussion there to be had around EVs and PHEVs about this continuation for building new cars, when actually I'm from a mindset now that says I've had that, I've experienced that, and I'm not sure it's the right thing to do. Please drop any comments, really interesting. I'll probably do a video on this later on this year, because I think there's some really good discussion to be had, and let's have an open discussion, and let's have an open debate, and any comments I will feed these into later videos. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, because keep watching, because there'll be another video coming up very, very soon.